Daddy D. If it ain't going down at the Bunny Ranch, it ain't going down at all.
It's going down at the Bunny Ranch. Going down.
Hello, and welcome back, listeners, to another episode of the BunnyRanch podcast. My name is AliceLittle, and I am a legal sex worker at the world-famous Moonlight Bunny Ranch located in Carson City, Nevada. This week, I have one of our beautiful, ravishing lovers joining me from across the street, all the way over from the LoveRanch North, the wonderful, the amazing, the talented, and gorgeous Olivia Green.
Thank you, Alice. That's awesome. Thank you. Hi, guys. How are you?
I am so glad to have you here. We're going to have so much fun.
Thank you. I'm really delighted to be here. Truly. This is a really cool experience. Thank
you were telling me just as we were getting started that you just celebrated your 2-year anniversary with the company.
Yes. I started down south, and I was super excited to Dennis at the time. I worked about a month down south, and then he moved me up here up north, and it's been the most amazing experience ever since. So,
and we're so glad to have you a part of the family.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
I feel like there's something so special about those of us that choose to do this as a long-term career.
Yes.
Because in so many ways, our understanding of the industry and even as ourselves, it evolves over time.
Totally evolves over time. I know that I've changed tremendously, just like through the experiences of every day of being at the ranch and with my clients. And I've just noticed that there's just a real difference about me and like my patience level and just like the amount of love I'm able to give. And it's actually been quite fruitful and amazing. It's just personally, never mind like all of the amazing other benefits. So
yes.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest change that you've seen in yourself over these past 2 years?
I would have to say my patience and outgoingness. I was actually talking to you about this before, that live stream on our show on live stream, that I used to like be a goofball, and I would not put up necessarily a fight, but I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do it. And I'd get all nervous and all crazy. And then I'd be like, and now 2 years later, I love doing it. Like, I'm going to be hosting this next week.
Yes.
And it's something that I love doing. And now I have positive feedback from the other ladies in the house too. And I've had positive feedback from gentlemen on the chat. Like, it's just been very, very cool. So I'd have to say being outgoing and doing that, and also my patience level has just, through time and seeing things happen and going through just personal life changes, I've noticed that like my family noticed a difference. And it's so funny.
I believe it. Like your whole energy being really changes as time goes on. Yeah. And even in the time that I've known you, I see you hold yourself so differently. You're always smiling, and you just have like this radiant energy coming off of you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
There was actually, so my little brother, he actually got married in September.
Ooh.
And so I was thinking about this. And so as an example for me being outgoing, I noticed that my two sisters, right? So there was this giant dance floor, and here my little brother is getting married to his beautiful wife, and they're on the dance floor and they're dancing with all their friends and everything else. And I used to be more of a wallflower. So I would be more the person that was sitting with my two sisters. And so I realized, and I'm watching myself almost like change in and of that situation just a few months ago, and be like, oh my goodness, I'm up here dancing and having fun with everybody else.
Yes!
And my two sisters were actually just sitting there, and they were cool and they were having fun. But I noticed that things like that didn't bother me anymore. Like, I enjoy being out and about and having fun with people. Like, it was it was a blast.
Oh, I bet. It's so interesting because I feel like so uniquely within this industry, you get to know yourself on such a deep, intimate level that otherwise you would never have a chance to.
Totally. I absolutely agree.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes. So tell us a little bit about who you are, your history, your background, a bit about your personality.
Well, so I've come from a long line of professional positions where I was very much in customer service. So I've always had a feeling for people. And so I've noticed over time, and it was before I even became a sex worker, I noticed that through my own spiritual changes and being that I'm an empath.
Yes, tell us a little bit about that.
So being an empath, and it's also evolved over time, but it's something where I am with someone or in certain situations, and I tend to absorb some of their energy. I take cues emotionally and also physically from different people.
Yes.
And so if someone is super happy, I can feel their energy and I can feel being super happy. You know, if someone comes into, say someone comes into the ranch and they're super nervous, I can feel how nervous they are. Not just because their hand is trembling, but because I can actually feel what they're sort of feeling.
So it radiates off of them almost, and you're able to pick up on those subtle nuances.
Exactly. And it's not just body language. It's more, I inherently have this feeling of I can tell what they're feeling at that time.
Oh,
and so
wow.
It gives me cues to be able to help and ease people and not make people so nervous. And because coming into the ranch is not an easy thing to do.
No, not at all. It's very anxiety-ridden, very nerve-inducing, especially for someone that's coming in for the very first time that's never gotten to experience that space. You don't know what to expect.
Exactly.
I go back 4 years and remember my own first experience coming in with my bags and completely freaked out and nervous and anxious. And it gives you that appreciation for putting yourself in someone else's shoes. But what you experience is even deeper than just being able to put yourself in their shoes, but actually get that real-time feedback. I imagine that's really beneficial, especially in the girlfriend experience.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love the girlfriend experience. It's like being a girlfriend to someone either temporarily or over long term, and actually talking to someone long term it's really, I don't know quite how to explain just how gratifying it feels for me to make someone else feel special. I want someone to know how special they are in this world, because I think everyone should feel special. And so the girlfriend experience, the GFE, is something where I see, whether someone's nervous or not, it's something that I can very much read the situation through being an empath and everything else, and through also just over time, where I want someone to feel good. And I want I've gone on dates out to dinner and gone to Tahoe and gone to look at the mountains and the beautiful lakes, and just spending time with someone and cuddling with someone and making them feel amazing. Never mind the amazing sex, but
the sex is the sex is just a benefit at that point. But
totally.
It's so rare in our society that an individual gets to be seen and loved for who they are in that moment.
Totally.
We constantly, especially in today's day and age, we're always like, oh, where are you going? What's your progress? What are your goals? And we never just stop and celebrate the existence of self and who you are within the moment.
Yeah, it's important. I want people to know, there's so many different walks of life, or people come from different walks of life into the ranch, and they email or however they reach out to me. It's different walks of life that I want someone to know that no matter where they're coming from, that I can meet them there.
Yes.
And that's important to me. And I want them to know that their time is important to me. Like something that I do, especially for setting up a party, right, is that I always make sure that, say we go through the process of actually booking our party, right? So we get all the amazing party sheets and things, right? So what I do is I take my guest back to the parlor and I say that I'm just going to go set up my room so that I'm not actually taking up the time of me setting up my room. I take the time before we start the clock or before we start our time. I take that time to make sure they know how important their time is to me and that it's valued, you know? I don't want it to be something where I'm like taking up half of it, setting up things. I want them to know that this is cool. Thank you for being here. It's amazing.
And I imagine, too, that when you're doing that, it really allows you to get into the right mindset, too. Like, as you're setting the bed up, you're also able to balance out your own energy, find the right music for that particular person, and really help set the tone. And as they come into that space, it's not, oh, let's get ready real quick. It's, here we are. We have arrived. And it kind of lets you set the stage in a way, I bet.
Absolutely. Like there was a gentleman the other day and he wanted to listen to 60s music.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Right? And so I'm not particularly familiar with 60s. So at first I said, so you mean classic rock? And he's like, no, I mean like 60s country. And I was like, okay, well then how about I type that in and I will find 60s country. And it was just awesome to like, again, set the stage. Exactly like you said.
And I bet as he walked in, heard the music, saw the room, that he was just so delighted that you took that extra special time to make him feel special and seen.
Well, yeah, because that's important to me. It's not just someone coming in to, like you said, like sex is like the most awesome benefit of doing what we do. But there's also just, again, the gratification of having someone feel so special. And I want them to know, all of anyone that walks away, is in couples included, that their time was important to me. That's really the coolest part. Like I bake for a lot of my clients too.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yes.
Now you got to go into the details. You see, we have a rule here on the podcast that if you mention food or cooking, you've got to share the details of it. So like, what are we baking?
Well, my degree is in baking and pastry arts. So I don't just usually do something that is, I don't do very simple things. So one of the things that I really enjoy making is Italian buttercream. I love making cakes and birthday cakes and cupcakes.
Keep going. Keep going.
So with Italian buttercream, I use a special mixer because it has to be a stand mixer. And with the stand mixer, you take egg whites and you whip them up to a certain consistency. It's called oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of exactly what it's called. Of course, I would blank right now.
But it's about the feeling with baking and the look of it. And you look at it and it's like, okay,
So
cool.
funny.
It's peaked or fluffy.
Yes, there we go. So it's soft peaks. Okay, thank you. So with soft peaks, I also take the sugar and I boil the sugar to a certain degree where then I pour it into the egg whites and then you have to whip it until it cools down to a certain, like, it's like lukewarm is what it feels like to my hands. And I kind of do it inherently at this point.
That makes sense, especially given the empathy. I can see that really like fusing into the baking too.
It just comes together. I can't help it. It just is something where I watched one of the few first chefs that I ever worked with, and I watched the way that he would work with certain things, and I wanted to be able to touch food that way and just make it come together. So I take the butter and I put it into the egg whites and I just whip it through, and it's not as sweet as like regular buttercream. It has like a little bit less sweet, but the consistency is light and fluffy, and it's fun to work with. And we actually had a party the other night and all the cupcakes were gone.
I believe it. Oh God, I believe it.
It was fun.
Man, that sounds delicious. Oh, see, again, it's just one of those like personal little touches that you're able to add in, and just really it creates something completely unique, different, and like whoever expected that you would find Italian buttercream in a brothel. Just saying.
It's awesome,
but
though.
like I'm here for it. That sounds so good.
Well, it's something that I feel blessed to be able to do. Like, how cool is it that we get to do so many different things? I get to meet so many different people, grow as a person, and provide something that I love to do that is also appreciated. It's awesome.
Rewarding. It's really rewarding.
It
so,
is.
As you're coming with the 2 years now within this space, what would you say is your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway would probably be just feeling even better about myself. Like, I know, again, my personal growth it's just been exponential. So I have to say that just watching myself blossom as well as, and that's through other people.
Yes.
So,
It's like, I almost feel like each of us is a diamond, but as we evolve through this industry, more and more facets get added to that, and we glow and shine even more over time. And like as we become refined and polished, and the inner brilliance really starts to show. And then getting to share that joy, that gift, and that energy with your guests and helping them add facets to themselves and find the glow within themselves is really just so special and magical for people.
it truly is.
Like, do any stories come to mind of you kind of walking a guest through a first experience and kind of seeing that change within them?
I have to say there's also, as far as like first experience, I've seen virgins. That alone has just been amazing to be part of someone's first experience with sex. So I'm trying to think of actual specific gentlemen, but okay. So there's one gentleman and he is 45. And he was actually a virgin when he came to see me. So
and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with adult virginity. No shame, no stigma.
And on top of that, like one of the coolest men, because he had also been married for 18 years.
Good for him.
Right? And so through their experience, actually with them both together, it turns out that after I was able to be with him, he came back to see me again a couple times, and we had a couple 2-girl experiences, 3-girl experiences with him. And then his wife came. And then I got to actually share with her first orgasm.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
It was the coolest thing. It was so cool. So, I mean, just that experience alone, like, has just wowed me. Just absolutely wowed me.
You literally changed their lives, their relationships, the way that they communicate and interact with each other. Damn.
It was so cool.
Damn, dude.
And I got to be there for them to have sex with each other for the first time. And I was like, what? How cool is this?
That's, wow.
It was just amazing. Yes. So over time, and then they came back to see me actually this past year, and it was for her birthday. And so I made her birthday cake. And,
of course.
Well, it's so fun. And so made her birthday cake. And just to watch how their relationship has even evolved through my relationship with him and my relationship with her, it's just been amazing. Like, yeah, like the three of us in the hot tub together. Oh my goodness. So fun.
That's hot.
Yeah. It was a blast.
Like, best birthday ever? Best birthday ever.
That's for sure. It was so much fun.
So outside of the ranch, what sorts of things do you like to do with your free time?
Well, I actually, it's only been fairly new, but I've been hiking in around the areas in Carson.
Oh, yes. And we have some gorgeous, gorgeous trails here.
Oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. And like these amazing hills, and like we're in the middle of the desert. And it's beautiful to see the mountains out in the background. And like, it's just gorgeous. So I love going hiking more because I'm out in nature. It gives me some time to really ground and pull myself back down to earth, and to also just to, let myself just be, and I'm not on stage.
Yes.
Hiking. So
yes, it's just such a beautiful moment of peace, a return to Mother Earth, a return to nature.
Yes.
And it's just so centering. Like when you get to breathe in the fresh Nevada mountain air, you feel better.
Yes.
You just feel so much more calm and relaxed. It's kind of magical.
It is magical. So someone that actually introduced me to hiking more in the area, and also there's a waterfall, there's waterfalls in Carson City also, is Helena Price. So she took me out hiking a few times, and again, I grumbled, and then I loved it after I started going with her. And then we started going out, and we went up a few different trails, right? And we would go the same trail every day for a couple of weeks.
Nice.
So I noticed, because she ended up actually, she had injured her foot at one point.
Oof.
And so just through circumstances, I ended up going by myself.
Okay,
And
put
so-
yourself out there. There you go.
I was like, all right, so I'm going to go by myself. And since then, I've been going more and more by myself. But what was interesting is that there's this like one very huge hill, okay? And it's like one of those hills where you're just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that I'm actually walking up this thing, because you're just like huffing and puffing no matter what, apparently, whatever shape you're in.
Makes no difference.
Yeah, it just was a crazy hill. So I came up over this hill, and there's like this kind of split off in the road. So I went to the right, and here I am by myself, and I had gone for weeks with Helena, and it was just awesome to go with her. And then I saw, because we have wild Mustangs here in Nevada.
Sure do.
And so there was this gorgeous gray Mustang that was just out in the middle of this like patch of, here it's the desert, but it's kind of like long grass with like these weird sort of the sagebrush bushes everywhere. And so here he was just standing there. And I was just like, oh, hello. How are you? And so I found it interesting, because I also safety, and I want to make sure that, I'm safe, and I would never walk up to the actual Mustang, because we don't feed them here. It's not something that's advised or lawful. So here I just kept on going, and I just said hello, with energy, and just thought it was really neat, right? So then I continued going with Helena for the next few days, right? Then, through circumstances, I ended up going by myself again. And so we never saw the Mustang when Helena and I went together, right? So then, and I kept telling her, and I took pictures, and I'm like, here's the Mustang.
There's this
so
Mustang. He's
cool,
out here. He's
man.
gorgeous. You
Yeah.
gotta see him.
You gotta see him. Like, this is so neat, right? And so then it turns out that we go together, don't see him, and then I went by myself again, and then there he was again. I was like, oh, hello. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. It happened 3 different times.
Damn.
Right? It was so bizarre. And I was like, what?
Oh, wow.
I don't quite understand why or how, but it was just amazing that to have this interaction with this amazing creature that is just magnificent and majestic and just so cool to me. And the fact that they're wild. They're wild animals. Like, here, this gorgeous wild Mustang is just there.
And he's
just so
choosing
cool.
to trust you to be in his space. He's not running away.
Yeah.
He's just there kind of sharing the energy, sharing that moment in time with you. And that's
It was really cool.
That's awesome. Those are the
Yeah.
things that when you look back on life and you reflect back on what the past year has brought, that really just stand out, because you can't plan for something like that. It's just,
Can't.
it's nature's little way of just like tapping you on the shoulder and being like, hi, you're in the right place, the right time, and you're doing the right things in life.
Absolutely. That is very well said. That is totally doing the right things at the right time. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. It's just, I can't even tell you just how grateful I am for the past 2 years of just being with this amazing company, being with the BunnyRanch family, and just like being at LoveRanch. It's just, I'm so grateful. Mm-hmm. I really am. And it's just awesome. It's
cool too, because as we come to a close of 1 year and lean into the new 2020, the new roaring 20s,
Yay!
I can't wait to see what the next, 10 years of BunnyRanch really hold. It's going to be incredible.
It really is.
I look back and reflect and think of all of the things that we've overcome this past year, from defeating the Lyon County Initiative to getting to create this amazing community space and actually getting to share with the locals about who we are and what we do.
Totally.
I really do think that the future holds nothing but amazing things.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yes. So before we hop off the air here, do you have any special goals, any special plans for 2020?
Special goals. I mean, always personal growth is something really, really important to me, but also I want to share more of who I am with my guests and clients. I want to get to know people even better and the more and more comfortable I am with myself, I want to share more and more with them and just love life. I mean,
love
that's
it.
Truly.
I love it.
Yes.
So if people want to spend time with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
So my email address is oliviagreen@loveranch.net, and my Twitter is @OliviaGreen, GND, and I have a little rhyme that goes with it because I'm the girl next door and so much more.
Oh, I love that. That's so cute.
Thanks.
As to myself, you can reach me, AliceLittle, at BunnyRanch.com. Follow me on Twitter @TheAliceLittle or on Instagram @TheAliceLittleOfficial. As always, thank you all so much for joining us for another episode. Please be sure to like, subscribe, give us a little 5-star rating on whatever listening platform you happen to be on, and you can always see the behind the scenes on our YouTube channel. I hope everybody has a wonderful, safe, and spectacular new year, and we will see you all next year. Bye.
It's going down, going down.